You're about to see the video of Donald Trump achieving the art of no deals once again today in his utterly demented.
The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperations, is over.
In an era defined by resurgent protectionism and profound geopolitical uncertainty, Prime Minister Mark Carney has articulated a decisive and multifaceted economic strategy that marks a fundamental and comprehensive reevaluation of Canada's global position. Welcome viewers to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe, like my video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update.
Canada has what the world needs. We're becoming an energy superpower, and we are a leader in the building blocks. And our response to these latest tariffs is to fight, is to protect, and to build. We will fight.
In an era defined by resurgent protectionism and profound geopolitical uncertainty, Prime Minister Mark Carney has articulated a decisive and multifaceted economic strategy that marks a fundamental and comprehensive reevaluation of Canada's global position. Welcome viewers to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe, like my video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update. The government's approach is a calculated and deliberate departure from the long-held and deeply ingrained assumption that Canada's economic health is inextricably and perpetually tied to the fortunes of the U.S., and that a free-flowing, open border is a perpetual given, an unshakable constant in a changing world. This new paradigm, which is both pragmatic and visionary, prioritizes three core pillars: domestic economic strength, national resilience against external shocks, and a vigorous, accelerated diversification of trade relationships. It is a clear and unambiguous recognition that the nation's future prosperity and long-term stability must be built on a more stable and self-reliant foundation, one that can withstand external pressures and political volatility from any single trading partner. The strategic tariffs imposed by President Trump, while not universal in their application, are nonetheless surgically aimed at the most critical and deeply integrated sectors of the Canadian economy. The auto industry, for instance, is far more than a simple collection of assembly plants. It is a sprawling, complex, and highly integrated cross-border ecosystem of suppliers, manufacturers, and innovators. The 25% tariff on Canadian-assembled vehicles represents a direct and potent assault on this highly efficient and finely tuned supply chain. It is forcing costly and time-consuming adjustments that threaten to unravel decades of meticulously built economic integration. This has already resulted in tangible and measurable consequences, from reduced shifts at major production facilities across the country to a measurable drop in Canadian exports to the U.S., as businesses of all sizes grapple with this new and unwelcome economic reality. The ripple effects are widespread and far-reaching, impacting not only the major players in the auto sector, but also the countless myriad of smaller businesses that supply it with parts, components, and specialized services, creating a chain reaction of economic hardship. The tariffs on steel and aluminum are similarly devastating in their impact, with their punishing 50% rate acting as a significant and immediate barrier to trade. These duties do more than just stifle exports. They also dramatically increase the cost of essential raw materials for Canadian manufacturers, making them significantly less competitive both at home and in foreign markets. The tragic layoffs at Algoma Steel and other major firms are a stark and painful illustration of the very real human cost of this escalating trade conflict. Furthermore, the specter of future tariffs on a wide range of other key Canadian exports, including vital sectors like copper and pharmaceuticals, underscores the growing instability and fundamental unreliability of the relationship. This aggressive and protectionist stance by the U.S. has exposed Canada's historical over-reliance on a single trading partner as a major strategic vulnerability, transforming what was once a source of undeniable strength into a significant and urgent liability that the government can no longer ignore. A two-pronged strategy for immediate and long-term resilience. To counter this profound and multifaceted threat, the Carney government is implementing a carefully constructed, two-pronged strategy that is both defensive and offensive in nature. On the defensive front, it is providing targeted and comprehensive support to the industries that have been hit hardest by the tariffs. A prime and highly visible example is the comprehensive financial package for the softwood lumber industry. This sector has faced the burden of U.S. tariffs for decades, and the government's new 1.2 billion Canadian dollar support package is a powerful and strategic testament to its new focus on national resilience. The 700 million Canadian dollars in loan guarantees provides immediate and crucial relief, ensuring that companies have the necessary liquidity and financial breathing room to withstand the economic pressure in the short term. However, the most transformative and forward-looking element is the 500 million Canadian dollars earmarked for a long-term strategic pivot. This substantial funding will be used to help companies invest in new, cutting-edge technologies, develop innovative, value-added products, and, most crucially, diversify their export markets far beyond the U.S. This includes a concerted and proactive effort to promote the use of Canadian-made lumber in domestic construction projects, which will help create a more robust, self-sufficient, and resilient internal market for Canadian producers, insulating them from foreign trade disputes. On the offensive front, Canada is aggressively and proactively pursuing a widespread diversification of its trade relationships. The government is actively and strategically leveraging existing trade agreements like the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, CPTPP, and the Canada-European Union Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, to unlock and expand access to new markets for Canadian goods and services. These agreements provide a crucial and vital counterbalance to the uncertainty in the U.S. relationship, offering Canadian exporters preferential access to a vast network of over 1.5 billion consumers in diverse, stable, and growing economies. The government is also making significant long-term investments in trade-enabling infrastructure, such as modernizing ports, upgrading railways, and expanding digital networks to facilitate this fundamental reorientation of trade flows. These investments are not just about rerouting goods. They're about building the physical and digital arteries that will connect Canada to the rest of the world, making its economy fundamentally more resilient and globally competitive in the decades to come, redefining Canadian economic sovereignty. Furthermore, Prime Minister Carney's government is actively working to reframe the national conversation about economic security, shifting the narrative from one of dependency to one of self-determination. He is positioning this moment of challenge and crisis as a unique and powerful opportunity to build a new sense of economic sovereignty, one where Canada is less reactive to the whims of others and more proactive in shaping its own destiny. The strategy involves not only finding new markets for exports, but also actively attracting foreign direct investment from a more diverse and balanced range of countries. By deliberately and strategically doing so, Canada can reduce its dependence on any single source of capital and technology, thereby mitigating risk and increasing its economic independence. This is a deliberate, long-term plan that seeks to fundamentally transform the Canadian economy from its traditional U.S.-centric model to a dynamic, globally connected hub of innovation, trade, and economic resilience. This inspiring vision of economic self-determination is a powerful one, signaling to both Canadians and the world that while Canada will always be a neighbor to the U.S., its economic future will be defined by its own strategic choices, its own bold actions, and its own diverse global connections. This pivotal and forward-looking strategic shift is designed to ensure that the Canadian economy can not only survive, but also thrive in an increasingly unpredictable and volatile world, regardless of the political climate in Washington.